the leading causes of disputes and even divorce in marriages. This week we get tips from financial experts as well as couples' testimonies on what works and what doesn't when it comes to handling love and money. Hello, I'm Oriani Tangishaka and this is Our Voices. In studio with me as usual are my co-hosts Seminisha Koye and Anastasia Tudiesh. Ladies, let's get right into it. A question for you ladies and also for our viewers to think about. When we observe couples, both in urban and in rural areas in Africa, which personality traits seems to often lead the fight over money? Is it selfishness, recklessness, the stress of not having enough, or is it simply poor budgeting skills? Lack of clear, open conversation is sometimes what you say, Anastasia. What do you think?
Well, to me, I believe in C and A, the C word and the A word, communication, clear, open, honest conversation, and then action. Once we have established what was not working, what we were intending to do, let's act, let's take action. I think that this culture of rom-coms has kind of changed the way we look at couples, and we might look good together, but are we financially compatible is the right question, and I'm not sure that everybody asks that question.
That's true. There's lack of communication is sometimes when people think God will provide. Let's just get right into it, right?
That's the worst.
So, Manish, what do you think?
Well, I totally agree with you that lack of communication definitely can be one of the issues that lead to financial problems, because especially, communication is the key to starting, solving a solution. But I also think all the other problems you mentioned, like the stress of not having enough budget or selfishness, they also can be a problem that lead to financial problems, both in the urban and rural areas. And I don't think it's just one thing or another. Sometimes it could be just one thing. Sometimes it's a mix of all these other problems,
that's
right?
What I was saying. Well, communication helps to solve it.
I agree, but
if
ladies,
your spouse is selfish, you'll tell him, hey, you're being selfish. What about what we had established?
I think it's
my point to that,
because
I agree with that. Communication is a key, but at the same time, sometimes we might communicate, but we may not be able to pin down to the problem precisely while communicating.
Well, you could just fight about it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or we may not even be able to find the right solution we need, or sometimes even finding a solution, communicating, we might not be able to implement it because of different constraints.
I think it's
so communication can take us halfway, but might not be the whole
selfishness
point.
Because when you love someone, you want to just give. If they ask you, give, and I think either one or both partners can be selfish, and then it just becomes a whole.
That is part of the problem. That is part of the problem, but it's not all one thing. It can be a mix of different things, and it can be, just one thing.
You can still share a little.
And also, it depends on what you call love. We don't. All of us don't have the same definition of love.
Well, it's going to be about marriage. So once you're married, you have to love someone somehow
to be able to commit to string unless the rest of your life.
Unless it was a financial agreement, contract, right?
That can happen.
That's true. I agree. Wow, some interesting opinion you guys have. Well, they say the love of money is the root of all evil. I would agree with this, as it seems to be more and more evident that the rates of divorce around the world have increased because of dispute over money. It also seems that many money lovers get married without ever discussing what each person think about the family finances, what it would be like, and how that would impact their marriage, for better or for worse, right? According to MoneyWeb, a South African media company that produces investment information and business news for marital union to prosper, couples must commit to, quote, honest and transparency, set boundaries, structure your banking in a way that works for you too, allocate roles and responsibilities, make decisions together, plan for emergencies and for the future. And a favorite of mine is keeping your financial affairs private. So with that, let's hear what actually works and what doesn't, and what can be improved when it comes to handling love and money.
Well, let's look at this further. Disagreement over money management in marriage has also become one of the leading causes of divorce in Zambia. Many couples find it difficult to balance family financial goals and individual preferences. VOA's Daniel Tonga reports from the capital, Lusaka.
Different attitudes towards money have become a significant source of conflict in many marriages in Zambia. Spouses have different spending habits and financial priorities and often can't agree on managing finances, which at times creates problems that could lead to divorce.
In most cases, you'll find that we disagree on what we want to do. You'll find that, let's say, for instance, if we have 5,000, I will say I want to buy maybe something in the house. He will say, let's save it. So in that regard, you find that we're always arguing on priority. So my husband is an accountant, so meaning he accounts for everything.
For some couples, financial transparency is critical in preventing arguments and conflict.
I think with my wife, we are completely transparent. So we declare all the income and then we agree on all the needs. For example, I take care of the rentals, I take care of some of the needs, but there is agreement. When she brings in her income, we also agree. So basically, we do the budget together.
His spouse, Alice Musole, agrees.
We don't face any challenges with my husband because we are transparent. We bring our monies on the table and we discuss. There's a lot of communication where finances are. So we don't hide anything. If I do overtime, I'll bring it on the table. He does overtime, he'll bring it on the table.
Nora Kalaluka, a couple's financial coach at Smooth Production Insights Limited, says cheating over finances in marriages is the cause of divorce.
Divorce cases in Zambia have risen from 31,000 plus in 2022 to over 36,000 last year, 2023. So that increase of 5,000 is too much. And when I did a research on that, yes, the financial aspect contributes. So in my line of work, I get to have a number of people that are really trying to mend. Some are trying to mend their marriages in terms of how they can align their finances because one spouse cheated.
Some marriage financial planners say although couples are struggling with limited finance to agree on individual financial priorities, creating a cohesive financial plan that aligns with couples' joint goals will help keep marriages intact. Daniel Tonga, VOA News, Lusaka.
Thank you so much, Daniel Tonga, for that beautiful report from Lusaka, Zambia.
I just loved the couple when they were holding hands. It
Yes.
was so
Oh,
cute.
yes. It was beautiful. Well, to understand some of the realities that couples deal with, which could drive them to the brink of a divorce, let's hear from Lindie and Thando from Skilled Finances. They say finances almost ruined their marriage, and now they help couples to avoid what they went through. Thando and Lindie, thank you so much for joining our voices.
Thank you for having us.
Now, we want to hear what happened to you guys and what made you guys come to a point where you were arguing so much that it almost cost you your marriage almost.
Well, when we first got married, we had that whole perception of, oh, well, we love each other, so that's enough. We didn't really talk about how to manage our money, how to budget. We spent money together, we used money together, but we failed to sort of bring in the financial conversation into our relationship. So we failed to talk about it from the get-go. And obviously being two different people, that money habits crept in, money styles crept in, like our upbringing crept in as well. So had we had those conversations, that would have helped.
I love when you say money, your past crept in on you. You didn't even know, right? What do you think, ladies?
I can't believe there has been an argument or disagreements between the two of you when I see the husband smiling and nodding to what his wife is saying. It's just beautiful to see you like that. So about the fights, I'd like for you to share it with us. Did you openly discuss the issue at hand? And especially, for me, communication is key. So I would like to know how you made sure that the discussion you had was actually a discussion and not a fight about money.
So initially we used to fight a lot because we would wait until the issue was like really serious to be like, okay, let's have a talk about this thing over here. But at that point, we've both been like thinking about it for so long, it stressed each other out that we had to learn to have the conversation before the issue kind of arose. And then on top of that, what we also started to do was to then talk about money from the perspective of like thinking ahead. Okay, what do we want next month to like? What do we want, the rest of the year to look like? As opposed to why are we spending so much money in this area over here, and then end up arguing about it.
And I understand also that you're not pointing fingers, right? It's a we problem. It's not you against. It's us against the problem, and not each other against each other.
Exactly that. And then because of that us mindset, it then means that when we are having a disagreement of sorts, we both understand that it's not me against you. It's actually just the fact that we're thinking about it differently, but we also need to make a decision together because it is an us issue.
That's very interesting. Can you tell us how you overcome it once you had an issue and then you started, communicating? You've been communicating, but then the way you communicate was also a problem. But then finally, when was the point you said, okay, we need to change the way we are handling this, and how did you overcome it?
So everything came to a head for us when we realized that we'd gotten into about 5K of debt. We realized that actually we had nothing to ourselves and we're arguing a lot about money. But the one thing that turned it around for us was when we sat down and had a conversation of what we wanted our future to look like. What were our dreams? What were we aiming for? What were our goals? And we soon realized that actually we have similar goals. We have the same goals. We want the same things. But the only way to achieve it is if we work together as a team with our money.
See, ladies, what did they do? They communicated.
Right.
Well,
in the issues, can you tell us a little bit about how you help couples now that you have seen what you went through and it was very detrimental? What do you advise them to do, right off the bat? Maybe as soon as they get married, maybe.
Yeah, for me, the first thing to do is to agree, number one, how are we going to manage money in our household finances? Because that's important. We need to pay our bills. We need to cover our food. We need to be able to travel and all the rest of it. So let's agree on, are we combining everything in a joint account? Are we keeping everything separate? Are we going to make financial decisions together? What are we going to do when your family asks me for money? All of these discussions, have an agreement up front. And the second thing I would say is then think about what you want from your future. What do you want your 1 year to look like from now regarding your finances? And that will start to give you the vision to work together as a team as opposed to just paying bills all the time.
Okay, real quick, Thando, I want to get right into you. Africa is a patriarchal society and men are supposed to be the breadwinner. You go out, you kill the lion, you bring the lion at home. Was there any of that, I'm going to handle this? Or, because, most African men will want to be the lead in what happens in money. Did you have that attitude coming in?
I think initially I did, I'll be honest. Yeah, absolutely. And, that's my upbringing as well. I'm from Zimbabwe, so it was a very, very similar approach. Until one day I started to actually reflect and realize that we're in a partnership, right? We're in a relationship, but we're also in a partnership. And she brings a different mindset, a different approach on the table. And if we learn to work together, we can do so much more than me just kind of taking that pressure and the burden on by myself.
That's interesting. And also, one thing Oriane mentioned as her favorite is keeping financial affairs private. So within African communities, we tend to talk to our parents, especially mothers.
YouTube channel.
Exactly.
And they talk about it on their YouTube channels.
Not talking about privacy.
How private should it be, and how can couples exercise that?
I think as a couple, you need to set your boundaries from the get-go. Decide whether you're going to let people in or not. For some couples, it's absolutely fine to let people in. But for us, we've chosen to keep people at bay when it comes to our finances.
Why?
We don't always
Can you tell us why? Why? Why did you make that choice?
So the main reason why we decided to do that is we are in the partnership, we are in the marriage. So it's between Thando and I. So we will deal with everything financially the way we need to. If we ever need support and help, then we will speak to people. But it's very difficult when you let people in and then people have opinions on, well, you should be using your money this way, or we should be getting some of your money because we're your family. You need to support us. We're in Africa, we're in Zim. You need to be supporting us. But when people don't know exactly what you earn, it makes life a lot easier because they can't dictate how you then use your money in your relationship.
Wow. And I think, sometimes I'm thinking, okay, what works for you guys? Was it to put it together and share? Or was it like, no, I'm going to take care of this bill and that bill? How does it work?
So for us, what worked for us is putting everything in one pot and kind of having that joint mindset. For us, that's been the best approach to ensure that we are working as a team. We tried the kind of, I do this, you do that, but we just felt like we weren't really on the same page all the time. And we also made assumptions about who's doing what. But when we put everything in the same account, we both have visibility into what's going on, and we both have a say with this is what's happening.
Okay.
That's fantastic. So what I like with your dynamics is that not only did you help each other, but you also help other couples. On the YouTube channel, financial...
skilled finances.
Skilled finances.
Yes.
I'd like to know, what is the video that brought you more views, and do you know why?
Do you know what's so interesting? The most watched video on our channel is how to 5 ways to budget as a couple. And I think the reason why is because couples want to know how on earth are we going to budget together, and how should we do it, because you know, maybe we've tried one way and it's not working, or everybody says we should combine our finances, but we don't feel comfortable doing that. And so that's been the most popular video for us.
Not surprised.
Yeah, I want to go to watch that.
Me too.
Oh, yes.
That's very good. Well, thank you so much, for being with us, Thando and Lindie Jacobs of Skilled Finances. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
We want to wish you the best in your marriage and in helping other couples overcome financial stress. Now it's time for a break. When we return, we'll meet Nikki Pruett, a couple relationship expert on financial management. She will help us understand some of the mistakes couples make, but also give us tips on what works in handling money and love. So make sure you stay with us. In the meantime, as usual, we ask you to share your thoughts on this topic on our social media platforms at VOA Africa. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. Use the hashtag VOA Our Voices. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
In times of change, when the world seems uncertain and what we hear doesn't reflect what we see, we seek the truth. When we are told only part of the story, we lose trust. In moments of crisis, our dreams, hopes, and wishes for a better tomorrow depends on a free press. At Voice of America, we bring you the stories that people take risks to see. We connect the world and unite it with truth. At Voice of America, we show you the whole picture.
Health, wellness, sport, beauty, medical breakthroughs. Healthy Living cares about your well-being. What are the main health concerns in Africa and around the world? Find out the latest on coronavirus. Connect with our experts and ask them questions.
How long does the virus stay?
Join me, Linor Moudou, in Washington, every week on Healthy Living, right here on VOA.
You're watching VOA's Red Carpet. My name is Jackson Vunganyi. Thank you so much for joining us each week right here on Red Carpet. We bring you the latest in
with Our Voices. Welcome back. We are discussing love and money and how they can successfully work together. Let's now hear from Nikki Pruett, a certified financial counselor and the coach of the Together program at the University of Maryland's Department of Family Science in the School of Public Health based in College Park. The free online training program helps individuals and couples talk about money to reach their financial goals and reimagine life. Miss Nikki Pruett, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
We all are taking notes, so
Yes.
all of us.
And I will be taking the class as well.
Me too.
Because it's right here in
Me
Maryland,
too.
and and it's free, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Even better. So, in your experience, what is one of the biggest mistakes couples make when it comes to money, and also, of course, how could they avoid it?
The lack of communication.
I've been telling them. Please
Yes.
tell them.
Yes.
You got to start somewhere,
No,
right?
and nobody argues with that. It's
Yeah.
just that, there are other additional problems. But of
No,
course,
right.
communication
Nothing
is
that
key.
So
communication
you're saying
can
that
solve.
they should start with communication, right?
Yes,
But-
because talking about money as a couple can be one of the most difficult conversations to have, but it doesn't have to be. It's about understanding each other's money styles and having the patience when having the conversations, because money can easily, or emotions can easily get in the way. And this what brings in that power struggle.
Why is that, do you think? Why is it so difficult to
Because
talk
as it
about
was just mentioned by your previous guests, our individual styles and as well as our money histories that shape at an
And
early age
culture and
in
all
our
those.
cultures. Yes, family dynamics. So it kind of brings in that emotion and it can creep into the conversation, which again creates that power dynamic and that struggle. when-
And if
when
my money style
communicating.
is about spending, I don't really want you to know. You're probably going to have a problem
That's what
with
I was
it.
about to say. There's a little shame around, it can be.
Yes.
I'm a spender and I'm not ashamed of it, but
Right, and I want to know how the Together program works and how is it tailored to make sure the couples have harmony? Because I am going to take it, but how is it tailored?
So the Together program brings couples together and provide tools, starting with stress management, communication, followed by the financial aspect, where couples can work on that together, and then create strategies based on their unique situation, whether that's blended family, coming from a divorce, cultural aspects. So that's how the Together
So
program
there's not one
works.
size fits all in the
No,
program.
it's not one size fits all. And in fact, it's not about either or, it's both and. How can we make this work together as a couple?
Yeah, that's interesting. So in terms of knowing how to avoid these problems and, avoid financial issues, can you give us 3 main tips that helps couple, know how to handle money in their marriage?
Yes, have the conversation early and often. A lot of times couples want to assume how things should be handled. Have that conversation early and often. You want to set expectations. What are our expectations for one another? Make sure that conversation's open. And then no ultimatums. So you want to go in.
No ultimatums, right? And that means, people are willing to be open to
Yes.
different styles and
Yes.
not to just fight about it.
Right.
Because what really makes me want to come to the program is to be able to see what other options are there and how I can run my finances, because nobody's perfect. Because you could be doing something for years and years and you think that works, but and also having someone else tell my husband what I really think of how he should do things, because coming from me might be like, right? Having someone
To follow up to the communication is key, but for couples who communicate and who know what their problems are in handling money, how can they find resources? How can they find how to further solve the problems they have? Because some communication is the start, but then also they have to solve the problem they have at hand.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So in addition to that, when couples may realize that communication is something that they struggle with, there are resources that they can reach out to. Like with the Together program, we offer couples therapy as a resource. We also offer financial counseling as a resource. There are other resources that may come in the family dynamic when it involves children. So there are plenty of resources that are available to couples that may lack the skills that we're talking about when it comes to communicating that can be offered.
Like,
as
for
well.
example, both couples can be overspenders and might, go over the limits they have, so they don't know how to restrain themselves. So are there financial helps that, advisors that can help them, like online resources, even people from Africa can tap into?
Yes, absolutely. So in addition to the Together program, there are other resources that are out there that are at no cost as well through like the AFCPE, which is who my accreditation is through. They can reach to find out no cost counselors. Financial therapy is also something that's evolving within this space.
Financial therapy.
Yes, because
I'm gonna take away that word.
First time I hear that.
it brings in that intersection of the communication aspects. It could be previous traumas, also with the financial counseling aspect of it. So it's important to know, where you are within those dynamics. Nice. When looking out for the appropriate help.
I love it. You're all about therapy, right?
Absolutely.
You love that word.
Therapy, communication, healing, growing, and
yes.
facing the issues and not trying to avoid them. So this is music to my ear. But I would like to hear something. With your experience, do you have a success story that you would like to share? Something that comes to mind when people would come to you and be, really, really in bad situations.
And then overcame.
Overcame thanks to your advice.
Yes, so that experience comes through the Together program since I've been working with them for the past 6 or 7 years, having couples come in that have no idea of where to begin this conversation, how to start the conversation, and to be able to walk away saying that now we have the tools that are necessary to know what it looks like to not only have an open and honest conversation, but the steps to take to be able to get on the same page of, we, as you mentioned, it's not either or, this is about us. Okay. This is about being together and making those decisions together.
And do you find that is men or women who are the biggest problem?
That's a good one.
That's
a good one.
So when it comes to, I can say, to the Together program, it's a lot of the women that are approaching the program when it comes to seeking the help. Now, who's the most problem in the relationship? That's hard to say, based on not understanding their money styles, but we do have more women that are interested in the program.
Fantastic.
That's very good. Well, thank you so much. Unfortunately, this is our show for today. It has come to an end. Thank you so much to our guests from London, and Thando and Lindie Jacobs, couple finances, educators of skilled finances who joined us earlier. And thanks to our certified financial counselor and coach, Nikki Pruett of the University of Maryland Together program. Now, be sure to watch our voices on the VOA website, voaafrica.com, or our YouTube channel, where you can catch up with the latest episode and keep up with the top news story from around the globe. On behalf of VOA and our Voices production team, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, it's cheers.